Okay, it is March 10th, and this is the NBA Show! Join us by subscribing to our newsletter at thenbashow.com. And Tom, today's headline, your favorite ranting lunatic has had his son expelled from B school.
I didn't know Charlie Sheen had a son.
No. Muammar al-Qaddafi's son was actually expelled from B school at Spain's IE Business School. I kid you not, he was actually expelled because while he was supposed to be doing his internship, he was, quote, leading an elite military guard to crush the rebellion. That's the actual quote from the Financial Times.
Now, so on your resume, when you list that bullet, I would suggest that you start with a verb because it conveys more sense of an action.
Such as?
For example, I would suggest that you use the verb crushed. And if possible, you want to try to include a number.
That makes sense. So, like, for instance, it says a lot more. Instead of saying, crushed rebellion, killing many innocent civilians, you want to say crushed the rebellion, killing 10,000 innocent civilians.
There you go, exactly. Could you imagine what it would be like to be on this guy's core team? I mean, it's like, excuse me, Mr. Qaddafi, your core team has brought me some grievances.
Oh, what are they?
Like, for example, I've noticed that here under priorities, Dave has listed academics as number 1, and you have listed winning my father's affection by learning how to exploit the resources of the Libyan people.
No, but that's followed by job at McKinsey is my second priority.
Oh, wait, hold on. We're getting breaking news here. Apparently, even though Mr. Qaddafi has been expelled, he's apparently refusing to step down as the VP of the Sports Analytics Conference.
Well, moving on to less international news, NYU is graduating their first class of their joint MBA-MFA program.
Now, that's a lot of letters, I know. And we all know that in graduate school, you're basically paying by the letter. What this is the combination of two powerhouses, right? Stern is a powerhouse in business school, and Tisch is a powerhouse film school. And this program basically gets you a degree from both schools in 3 years.
And I think we can both agree that MBAs should not be allowed to make videos. I think that's
That's pretty much
clear.
The only thing we're sure of at this point.
So, what's the business here?
Well, I mean, what the schools have basically figured is, like, we're spending all this money trying to recruit more students. We already have a ton of students. Why don't we just sell those same students a second degree? So they finally discovered that this is a business takeaway. It's easier to sell more to your existing customers than it is to recruit new customers.
It's like business schools have discovered the infomercial model of sales. But act now while you're in school. We'll throw in one more year of school and you'll get an MBA.
Which brings us to our jargon for this week, which is going to be space.
Now, we talked about this, Tom. This is not jargon. A space is a business opportunity or industry that you're interested in.
No, let me tell you, this is jargon. And you know how I know that it's jargon?
How?
Because my wife told me that it was jargon.
Have you been in one of those conversations where you try and defend something as not jargon?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. I was like, this isn't jargon. Everybody I know uses that term. And she was like, aha! Everyone you know uses that term, and they're all MBAs.
I guess that's true. So I guess jargon is defined by the listener. Like, if someone says that something's jargon, it's up to them, I guess.
Yeah, right. So I guess if you're talking to a 5-year-old, for example, then everything is jargon. Or if you're talking to anybody from an MBA program who's ranked lower than yours.
So, our business school tip of the week is the priority matrix.
And what this is a good tool for aligning teams. So I did this with my core team, and what we did is we each ranked 4 areas in order of priority. And those 4 areas are, the first one, we call these the 4 Bs.
The 4 Bs.
And the first one is beers.
For those who are into fun. Another priority, bucks, for those of you who are just concerned with getting a job.
Babies, the raising or attempted making of said babies.
And books, for those whose top priority is the academics.
Right, and this is all great, but it's kind of dorky, It's like
you don't want to be that guy. So I understand with your core team, but you don't want to be that guy who's like, excuse me, team that's forming, we need to discuss our motivations.
So let's all sit around, hold hands, and talk about priority matrices. Yeah.
So what's like a way to do this that's not doesn't feel so dorky?
Right. So I think it's really important that teams do something at the beginning to discuss priorities. And the line that I like to use that I found works really well is, what level of performance are you guys thinking about for this project? And you can tell right away if people are like, oh, I'm really gung-ho about the A+, or like, I'm trying to get in and out.
So that's slightly different than my approach, which is I generally send out an email to teams that I'm working with at the beginning and say, just to let you know, I prioritize efficiency over quality.
Well, there's always the dictator method, which apparently is the theme of today's episode. What's on your Miro radar?
So on my radar this week, I am actually taking the SAT this weekend.
That's funny. I'm also taking the SAT.
As part of our plan for our startup.
Makes me feel like I'm in high school again. And and afterwards we can go to the mall. We can buy Mrs. Fields cookies and I'm out of cell phone minutes. I'll text you next week.
It is like being back in high school. But anyways, it's been great this week. Folks, remember to subscribe to us on iTunes. I'm Miro Kaz.
I'm the real Tom Rose, and you've been watching
The MBA Show.